Yeah, tell us, Bridget.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Love
So
that.
I started my career. I was a property underwriter in London. I was in the corporate world. And at the same time, when I was working in London, I built up a property portfolio of residential lettings in the north of England. I was working in London and I had my property portfolio in the north. So I spent a lot of time traveling up and down the motorway, working corporate during the week, and then running my property business at the weekend. And I eventually decided that I wanted to set up my own business. A very long story short, I set up a dry cleaning, laundry, and alteration business. And I ran that business for 20 years. I had 5 locations in Cheshire, very high end areas, and I had a central unit. I employed 25 staff. I had 4 vans running all over the show, and I lived and breathed the business basically for 20 years. And I probably the last couple of years before I sold, um, I was looking at the business thinking there's got to be a simpler way here to make a living, to make the money. I drove a nice car, I privately educated my son, I had a nice membership at the gym, I went on nice holidays, but by God, did I work hard. I really did. It wasn't an easy business. And I said to my husband all the time, I want a business that's just me. I don't have to employ somebody. I don't have all these overheads. And I can be non-location dependent. I want to be able to work wherever I choose. I was very, very tied with my business. And I was introduced to the business by sheer chance. I was going to have my nails done at the salon, and it was a Vietnamese lady, and the Vietnamese people are absolutely wonderful, but they have no filter whatsoever. And she started using one of the devices on my face, and she said, "You need one of these because it will make you look younger." And it really was as blunt as that. So I said, "Well, thank you very much for that. I'll buy one of those." I think I better had, you know. But before that, I'd had a very good skincare routine. I used medical graded skincare products. I started using the Lumi Spa in the shower. I used it twice a day, and people were coming up to me after 4 weeks and saying to me, "What have you done to your face? What have you done?" I was like, what do you mean? I was busy. I hadn't really looked at my face. I was just using it. And people then started to buy off me, and I became curious about the business. Now, the Vietnamese lady didn't know anything about the business at all. She was just selling Lumi spas. She couldn't explain to me how the business worked. And I went off to little events on my own. I went to one in London, one in Birmingham. I came back, I listened to presentations. I came back, and my husband was saying to me, "What do you think? How did you find it?" I said, "I love the people and I love the products. I haven't a clue how this business works." I couldn't fathom it out. And I was a real numbers person, but I couldn't get my head around the business model because I was used to looking at balance sheets and profit and loss accounts and giving cash flow forecasts to my bank. I wasn't, I just didn't understand this business model. And it wasn't until I got to the global convention, I went off to the global convention in Utah on my own, flew out on my own. And it was there that I was like, I get it now. I get it. But I'd had quite a few multiple exposures here before I got it.
Good point.
You know, I didn't get it straight away. And even when I came back from the global convention, I understood it, but I still didn't know how I was going to do it. I had 25 friends on Facebook. I still had my business. How was I going to have time to start sharing these products? I was in a unit all day, but I found a way around it. I found a way, and I started to build a little customer base. And I actually, my business sold. I sold it actually to an Indian gentleman, bizarrely, very interesting. And then we went into lockdown, of course, and I had to learn a little bit about social media. So I have been taking this business seriously now for 2.5 years. And I am definitely a healthier, happier, more confident person of who I was before. And I thought I was quite a, accomplished business person. I'd run businesses, but actually, this business, I've tapped into a whole new set of skills that I just didn't use in my traditional business. So, what it's meant for me and my family now, my husband's in business. He has his own business. He manufactures in India. Actually, he has two two plants in India. But it means that we can spend our winters in Switzerland. A dream of mine since I've been 11 years old was to be able to ski and live in the Swiss Alps. And my son went to an international school in Switzerland for a year, which was absolutely incredible for him. We live in Switzerland 100 meters from a ski lift, which is like a dream come true for me. We spend our summers in Portugal, which is where I am now. And we have just got more flexibility in our lives. I never had that in my corporate job or in my traditional business. So that is what New Skin has brought to us. I absolutely love the business. And just kind of my reason for speaking really was just to say, if you don't get it in this first quick snapshot that we've given you, honestly, just hang in there because it really is it's an incredible business. It really is. So that's all for me.